So this story time is about how I got paid $8,000 for my energy company messing up for literally 30 minutes. Stay tuned. Okay, so let's talk about your contract. Y'all gonna see me reference or pull something out of this little folder. This is my folder that I kept for the actual claim. If I would have had to go to court, I had a lot of evidence against this company. Starting with Exhibit A, which is my initial demand letter that was sent to them. So let me tell y'all how they breached the contract. Around 9:30 on November 18th, 2024, my lights were disconnected. I reached out to the energy company. They didn't understand why. I didn't owe any money on the bill or anything like that. It was just off. So they did what they had to do. It took them about 20, 30 minutes to get it back on. During that amount of time, I missed out on teaching a class. For the people that know me, y'all know I teach financial literacy. I also teach credit repair. And I do consultations during the day. That morning I had a class. The people that pay for that class deserve to have my full undivided attention. They also deserve to have access to me. Even though I was working off of a laptop, me being in here and not having any lights on, like I have lights on right now. If I didn't have lights on, I do have the window, but still, it just doesn't look professional. And to me, it's embarrassing for something like that to happen. And I know doggone well I don't owe y'all no money. I was getting a little mad. I had to calm myself down. But anyway. Because you know when you don't owe people and they treat you like you owe them, you be like, look. All right, so I sent them a letter. November 18th, mailed them a letter. The letter basically explained how I was disgusted, flabbergasted. I needed answers to why my lights were disconnected. I needed answers to how I would be compensated for this, and I also needed to be reassured that this would not happen again. Because they didn't know why it happened, I feel like all the other customers are at risk as well as me. I could be at risk again as well. If you don't know why it happened, it could happen again, right? That's just common sense. So I asked them, I said, given the circumstances, I'm demanding immediate written acknowledgement of this error, including the explanation of why the disconnection occurred, compensation for damages caused by this incident totaling $2,500. That equals undue stress and for the inconvenience it caused my family and additional expenses for having to refund students. I also put a legal notice in here telling them that I was going to pursue legal action for recovery of damages if they did not comply with my request. The problem is, a lot of times when you threaten to sue, companies think you don't know what you're talking about. Like, you're not gonna sue because you can't afford a lawyer. You're not gonna sue because I'm asking them for $2,500. I'm sure they thought she doesn't have money to actually pay a lawyer, so how's she gonna sue us? That was their biggest mistake. On Monday, December 16th, I received an email from Miss A. Davis over at the company, and she said, "Good morning, and thank you for speaking with me. As we spoke about, I have added a $259.75 credit to your account." Now, if I rewind for a second, me and Miss Davis spoke over the phone. I feel like this company racially profiled me. I feel like they went and found a lady who shared the same ethnicity as me. She called me and she talked to me on some sister girl type stuff. She was like, "Hey, look, I do realize that you were injured. We want to make sure that we remedy this situation." I went ahead and I put $259.75 on your account. Now, this is without me asking her for this. This is after me asking them for $2,500. You called me on this sister girl stuff talking about you put $259.75. And I'm looking at the email right here because I printed it out. So it says, attached you will find a release that requires your signature and just simply email it back to me at your earliest convenience. This is where she messed up. The actual release form, and y'all excuse my dog, the actual release form that she attached to this email basically said that they are not accepting any liability and they're only giving me the $259 to shut me up. That was the game. So listen to what I told her. I said, "April, I'm writing in response to your recent settlement offer regarding the unlawful disconnection of my electricity that led to me missing work, my kids missing time from school, amongst other damages and injuries. I appreciate the courtesy credit extended and acknowledge your verbal apology provided. However, after careful review of your proposed release of claim, I must express my concerns and formally respond as follows." One, I said acceptance of the courtesy credit. So I accept the courtesy credit as partial acknowledgement of the inconvenience caused by the disconnection of my services. This credit does not, however, fully compensate for the disruption and challenges faced due to your actions. particularly as it negatively impacted my household and my children. 2 says rejection of settlement terms. I respectfully deny the settlement terms outlined in your release of claim. So take note that I'm telling her verbally, even though you gave me this money and I'm appreciative of that, I don't accept your terms of settlement, and that has to be vocalized if you are negotiating with somebody. So it goes on to say the document contradicts your verbal acknowledgement of wrongdoing by denying liability for the disconnection. This inconsistency raises significant concerns about the ability and sincerity of your resolution. I believe it is imperative to align your verbal admission of error with the written terms of any proposed settlement. As such, I request that you revise the release of claim and reflect an accurate acknowledgement of unlawful disconnection and ensure appropriate compensation is provided for the inconvenience